Honourable Chris Penk.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I present a legislative statement on the Telecommunications Amendment Bill.
That legislative statement is published under the authority of the House and can be found on the Parliament website. Honourable Chris Penk.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the Telecommunications Amendment Bill be now read a first time. I nominate the Economic Development, Science and Innovation Committee to consider the bill. Madam Speaker, telecommunications services are vital to New Zealanders' lives, and the sector generally works well, but as we all know, technology moves fast. This bill makes a series of targeted regulatory changes to ensure regulation keeps up with changes and Kiwis continue to have world-class connectivity services. There is a second bill that gives effect to the rest of the package of telecommunication regulatory changes that Cabinet agreed to, but I understand that this has not been approved across the House for association for first reading. Beyond the targeted improvements in this bill, we are in the process of making other improvements to regulatory settings for the telecommunications sector. We're making critical updates to the National Environmental Standards on telecommunications facilities as part of the Resource Management Act changes, or rather replacement, as well as removing barriers from the activities of fibre companies so that they can innovate and expand. Madam Speaker, we're also undertaking a broader communications systems level review led by both the Minister for Media and Communications and the Minister for Regulation. Decisions following that review are yet to be made, but I understand that ministers have worked to avoid duplication between the changes made in this bill and the matters that the Ministry for Regulation has been looking into. There are three key issues in the Telecommunications Amendment Bill. First, the bill makes permanent the rights that allow fibre providers to access shared property to install fibre. These rights were set to expire earlier this year and have had a short extension until 2028 to give us time to consult on their future. As many of you will know, colleagues, friends, fibre broadband has economic and social benefits that come from Kiwis making use of the high-speed, reliable telco services. But without these rights, some consumers will be at the mercy of an unresponsive or unsupportive neighbour if they want to use shared property to connect to fibre. Making the rights permanent reflects our commitment to supporting New Zealanders to connect to and benefit from high-quality telecommunication services. This government is also committed to protecting the rights of property owners, and so the bill makes the existing protection mechanisms for these people permanent as well. These protection mechanisms include access to dispute resolution, limits on how much shared property can be impacted, and requirements about how the impacted property is reinstated. The bill also allows for the rights to be invoked when a fibre installation order is placed directly with a fibre provider. At the moment, the rights can only be used when someone has ordered a fibre broadband plan from a retailer. Developers or landlords are understandably reluctant to sign up to a broadband property for a property they're not going to be living in just to get fibre installed. But the change in this bill means that a property owner, or again a developer, with a shared driveway can use the rights to get fibre installed before anyone moves in, without having to sign up to a fibre broadband plan. It will therefore support more properties to be fibre ready and improve access to fibre for more New Zealanders. The protection mechanisms for affected property owners will also apply in these circumstances, balancing the benefits for consumers who want to connect with fibre with impacts on other property owners. Second of the three promised areas, Madam Speaker, the bill makes it mandatory for large retail telecommunications companies to be part of an industry dispute resolution scheme if they aren't already. Many of our biggest telecommunications providers have already voluntarily joined a scheme, which is great. However, we're seeing that as the telco industry evolves, more New Zealanders are finding themselves without access to a telecommunications dispute resolution scheme. Given the number of complaints relating to the telco sector each year, it is important that consumers can escalate their concerns to an industry dispute resolution scheme. We're conscious that membership in such a scheme does come with costs for the provider. The bill creates a revenue threshold for when a telco provider needs to join a scheme to balance the benefits for consumers with the impact on the industry. The threshold mitigates the impact on membership fees for these telco providers, meaning that there is still a low barrier to the entry to market, supporting competition and innovation. The bill widens the type of schemes that can be recognised as industry dispute resolution schemes for the purposes of the Act. Since providers that aren't already in a telecommunications dispute resolution scheme will need to join one, the bill ensures that the Act is flexible enough to recognise schemes set up by providers outside the traditional telecommunications industry. Indeed, this change reflects that more Kiwis are buying their telco services from non-traditional telecommunications companies like electricity providers. All industry dispute resolution schemes will continue to be reviewed by the Commerce Commission, fear not, meaning that any poor performance of new schemes can be addressed. Third and final, the bill creates a new regulation-making power so that telecommunications development levy amounts can be set in regulations. The levy funds non-commercial telecommunications services and infrastructure and has been critical to some of our most successful rural broadband programs. But the amount of the levy is currently set in the Act. This means that if there is a need to increase the levy to respond to a specific connectivity challenge, a full parliamentary process is required to amend the Act If we really want to be able to use the levy to meet its purpose of addressing non-commercial telecommunications challenges, and I think, Madam Speaker, we do, then we need greater flexibility. By amending the Act so that the amount of the levy is set in regulations, we'll be better placed to respond to connectivity challenges as they arise. To balance this increased flexibility, any regulation that increases the levy amount will need to have consultation with telecommunications providers that pay the levy. This addresses some early stakeholder concern about a lack of checks and balances. Madam Speaker, I think it's important to note that decision-making on increases currently need to go through the House, and so we're engaged in the process of balancing the need for accountability and a robust process, on the other hand, with the ease of being able to do the business of changing that as need be. The bill will allow for necessary flexibility to set the amount at an appropriate level while keeping regulatory uncertainty to a minimum. The bill also makes minor and technical amendments to improve clarity and make consequential amendments. For example, the bill amends a set of regulations to reflect the Commerce Commission no longer accepts cheques. At a high level, this bill is about making sure we have the right regulatory settings in place for an important market. The targeted changes in this bill support competition, foster innovation, and help stimulate economic growth. I encourage members and the public to have their say on this bill through the Select Committee process, and in the meantime, I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion...
Hell, sorry, just a moment. Okay, finally have managed to figure out which video to pause. Yeah.
You got it? You on top of it?
Yeah, I'm on top of it now. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen some more things that have come through the polls recently. We do have someone who has voted no to having an ICAC.
Ooh, good on them.
You can probably guess who.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah. You know, that lovely friend of ours from that city called Tauranga, better known as the racist capital, commenting in the chat. Who I think has now left.
Very good.
So, interesting point that was made up there from Chris Penk about how one of the things is there, the fact that the telecommunications authority cannot accept currently legislated to accept payments for checks, but we don't do checks anymore.
Oh, that was the Commerce Commission can't accept it's not accepting checks, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, I do still have the souvenir. Where is it? Trying to find it. Come on. This is what happens when you move. Yeah. You misplace some things, such as your souvenirs are what you can't write anymore, not as checks. All right. So I have checks. Hey, this is fun. Sorry for those at home who are watching me literally going through a box. Seem to find a checkbook. Well, I found one checkbook.
What do you got? Have you actually got a checkbook there, Sam?
Yes, I have got a checkbook.
Wow. How about that, eh?
Yes. Here's a checkbook.
Unbelievable.
I know. No check was ever written from this organisation's bank account, but we get it. We got a checkbook. And it still has check number 000001.
Tell you what, you should take that along to Te Papa.
No. You send it to that guy called Kenneth Copeland, the televangelist, and you send him a $10,000 check.
Oh, that's amazing. Good on you.
Yeah. Also, you know, and put one, and I mean, this bank account was Jill's signature as well, and only put one signature on the check. Which can't be banked. Well, actually, no. Technically, it would have to be bounced, or they'd have to ring up Becky and ask her to put a signature on it. You know, but I don't think we can do that these days with because that was something that we meant to have two signatures on the check and you only put in one. You could when it went back to the bank to be processed, the other person could come into the bank to sign the check to finalise the process. That was something that could be done back in the day, but you can't do that now because checks. ultimately never weren't processed at your home branch anymore. They were processed at a centralised processing plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as someone who's from the disability community, how did you find Chris Penk's speech about fibre connectivity?
Well, I mean, yeah, the whole thing about the digital divide is always a big issue around not just disability community, but Māori Pacific communities, the elderly particularly as well. Elderly communities are really not as connected as other members of society. So I think the digital divide is a real issue. It's going to just accelerate, in terms of there are real communities that just don't have access to the internet as much as they need to in order to interact with government. In order to get access to government services. I mean, government is going more and more online, so therefore people need to be online. So it's becoming a serious problem.
Now, I find something a bit interesting about the fact that the way the current setup is, you have only a retailer can go to have fibre to request fibre connection to be installed into a property, not a wholesaler at the request of a developer. Now that's actually quite interesting on that one, because, like, say for example, you build a new apartment block, you've got 15 apartments in there or something, or 20. And you've got to go through and work out the basically, going through and connecting up all the places and having to potentially go one by one, like each person having to come in and of course coming in on each occasion doing it. Now, I remember when I moved into the place into Kingston, we had to have fibre installed. When I moved out of Kingston, moved to Kandala, we had to have fibre installed. Because on both occasions, in the case of Kandala, the phone hadn't been connected in like 10 years because James gave up on a landline. And in the case of Kingston, we were the first tenants in that place to have fibre. The previous tenants had ADSL.
Yep.
Or VDSL or whatever it was. Like, they basically, like, it didn't even have what's it called, the Saturn cable. Yeah, so it's interesting the fact that you can sit there and get things like a developer who can sit there and go, yeah, I want fibre put into all these new houses. It can literally do that, and I actually think that's a bloody good thing.
Yeah, one of the things that he said that kind of piqued my interest was the industry-based complaint scheme, which kind of made me, kind of unfashionably late. Very good.
Gate crashing.
Very good. Yeah, it was that industry-based complaints mechanism that always makes me a bit nervous when industry takes over a complaints mechanism. It always kind of says to me that when it's like marking your own homework, and that always makes me a bit nervous when I see that. Complaints mechanisms should always be independent of the, like, for example, when if a complaint is coming from a telco, then the telco shouldn't be the one that's assessing the complaint. It should be independent of. So that was just something that jumped out at me.
Yeah, you shouldn't be marking your own homework. Yeah,
exactly.
So how's Gate Crash and Laura tonight?
Pretty good. I just got back from a meeting. So yeah, that's why I'm unfashionably late. But Kiwi Skirt said, "Oh, you need to get in there because they need ranting," and I'm like, "Okay, I will insert ranting here." So I don't know. I don't even know what subjects we're covering tonight. I haven't done any homework whatsoever. It's just going to be off the cuff, going,
It's all right. We've so far coped.
Don't worry about it.
Typically, after the first speech, there is a bit of ranting because you're dissecting what's been said.
Yeah.
And before we sit there and go there, we've got a super chat from Blake.
Yes.
Finally, someone has broken the streak of literally every other person who has done a super chat. Every super chat so far has come from Mr. Alex. So, Blake, thank you for finally breaking it.
Actually, that's Lord Alex to you.
Lord Alex.
Yeah.
Why has he got Lord status?
Because he's the one giving us the money.
Oh, I see. Yes. So, Blake super chat. Not so much of the 5 sections, but part of this legislation is very interesting considering what happens to people on social media, including me and other creators from the left community. Very good point there, Blake.
Yeah.
See, I need to go back and watch what he's referring to because I'm not entirely sure. I'm missing half the context.
But I think there's also what's happened to him personally as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That,
I don't know too much about that one, but you'd have to let me in on the goss at some point, Blake.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Scout, The Order, Paper